There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with a Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and podcast. How the hell are you this morning? Do let me know in the chat if you will. And any pictures of fabulous weekends, do send them to 913 on the WhatsApp, 590-303. We all know that number by now, don't we? Which reminds me, every time I say it, I've got to work on those jingles and work that number into the jingles that T-Duck and Owen very kindly put the beginnings together for me of some lovely jingles. Jingle stubs. That's what T-Duck and Owen made. And I'm going to go to work on those, maybe in the Christmas break. Yes, talking of which, we will probably do our last broadcast of the year on Christmas Eve. We'll do recorded output. We'll restream a few things and make a few special things between the 25th and 31st and come back on New Year's Day or the day after the second. What do you think? Should we do a show on the New Year's Day to see the year in together? That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Right, coming back to this last weekend. Bon dia, Portugal, says João Ernesto. They could see it, John. We've got a little bit of John's Braga footage in the opening sequence there. Thank you, Anna, Pam, and John for that. I had a superb weekend. I hope you did too. I think I've got a few pictorial highlights. The lights went on in San Martino this weekend, but before that happened, oh yeah, where's my box of Atelier de Dos stuff? I've got some Try Something Portuguese goodies in here, not from Atelier de Dos. They've already been eaten, but we went there on Friday night. Oh my goodness, that's not it, is it? Where's that gone? That's it. The wine pairing do at the Storytellers was superb. Here's one beautiful picture. Look at the lighting in that restaurant, and look how many glasses of wine there are on that table. It was superb. Really, really good. Great job, Marco. And one of my new favorite wines will be from Casa Vini Rom. Oh, I keep showing that one. It looks the same, doesn't it, as this one? Yes. The Casa Romana Vini is a superb winery, not far from here, a little bit further than the Obidos Lagoon, which some of the folks who are present at the dinner were pleased to discover that that's their neighbor as well. Really good evening. Great winery. I should be writing about them, I think, this week for the Portugal Resident. That was superb. And it was a dinner where we had fizz to start and fizz to finish. Beautiful food in between. And making some new great friends. Jim and Christine, great to make your acquaintance. New in to San Martino from the United States. So great to make your acquaintance. And meet a few other folks on Friday night as well. Great job. Saturday, yes, I've only got one picture so far from the San Martino de Porto lighting up, which was excellent. We were a proper Portuguese family. We didn't fall for the old trick of going out at 7 o'clock only to discover that the lights would be turned on around midnight. We went out at about 11 and the kids were still up eating hamburgers and chips at 1:30. In other countries, that's child abuse. In this country, it's just like having a great time at Christmas. Christmas has truly started here in Portugal. Pictures from Alcobaça, of course, that bit of video that Pam showed us, that was Alcobaça. So is this. Look at that lovely lineup of mopeds there. This was a middle afternoon on Saturday. This was a procession in the town, and during this week, I'm sure we'll play the whole version of that, as well as Anna, Sweden, Portugal. She sent us a lovely sequence from Quarteira as well. So keep them coming in. It feels like Christmas as well and truly started. And of course, a lovely visit yesterday to San Martino de Porto. Look, it's Filomena, Paolo, and their granddaughter Isabel. So lovely to hang out with you yesterday afternoon. And to meet Luisa, Portuguese Luisa. I had a couple of Great to see you, Philomena, by the way, and looking forward to seeing you soon. Lovely to see you, Paolo, and the lovely little Isabel there. And when we walked into the Storytellers, guess who was there? John and Christina were there as well, and their friend Louisa, who told me my Portuguese was very good, which was my second Portuguese compliment of the weekend in the cafe on Saturday night. Dear friend Pedro, you're the only Englishman who tries to speak Portuguese. I felt quite proud of myself, but a little bit sorry and embarrassed for my fellow countrymen. Come on, let's raise our game. And that's one of our key messages for next year, is doing a little bit better on the Portuguese. So let's do that together next year. Make it one of our missions for 2025. Raise the game there on speaking Portuguese. I know some of you are doing it already. And the question hanging there before we bring James on is where in Portugal is English spoken the best? Not by English people. Well, they don't necessarily speak English very well, do they? I'm not swatting away my fellow English speakers. There is a fly in the studio who doesn't know he's about to get the full 9 yards, as it were. James and I talking about the origin of that of that phrase, and maybe we'll pick up on that when he joins us on the screen, which he will do in about 30 seconds.
Bom dia! Boas festas!
Feliz Natal! Tudo bem? Como está?
Muito bem, obrigado.
Excelente.
Contigo?
Muito bem, obrigado, muito bem. Yes, sim.
And?
No. Hold on a minute. Well, I'm sure we can.
Pause.
Como
vão as coisas?
Muito bem. Fim de semana com muitas coisas. Yeah, full stop. You don't have to keep going, do you? You don't have to keep going.
No, you can just go.
I was listening to an Oxford Union lecture, and it was he sounded like I can't remember his name. He had an Eastern European name, a very erudite gentleman. And he, as he was talking, he was really, I don't know, he was obviously thinking lots. And as he was thinking and trying to speak, he's like, well, you know, and this was in Oxford, the university. He's a very highly prized speaker. And I was thinking, yeah, I don't do that in Portuguese. Maybe I should start doing that. Maybe I should learn how to fill the space with a few ums and ahs in Portuguese.
Well, the French use
yes.
Just
yeah, right.
We've all got it. I think American English uses a lot.
Yes. Yeah. But come to think of it, I don't have the Portuguese doing that necessarily. They seem to fill the space with words, don't they? Like,
yes.
All the words together, put loads of words in, flow them all together, and there's not much room left for ums and ahs.
There's no breaks.
Yeah,
I think that's a good observation, because I haven't noticed. I haven't been paying attention to it, so now I will. It's like see where the breaks are. But my experience, and I just attributed that to my lack of familiarity with the language. It just sounds like they're constantly saying, when they're talking, there's no breaks. It's just like, it's like, stop. And then it goes, sometimes it gets past, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 people all doing that at the same time.
Exactly.
So
yes, we'll have
my brain,
yeah,
I'm very confused most of the time.
Yes, yeah. Although I do think, as well as that, it is getting a bit better. You're over to the window of comprehension, as it were.
I had a very interesting experience yesterday at the Mercado. Sidonio and João were having a fairly animated conversation about, guess what? Guess what it was about?
Football.
Oh, yeah. How'd you guess?
Believe it.
Yes. And I was really listening to see what I could pick up. And they spoke for probably 10 or 15 minutes, just constantly. That's what reminded me, between the two of them, just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I was saying, what can I pick up? What can I pick up?
Yes.
And I knew they were talking about football because I heard Sporting, I heard Benfica. Okay, so now we're talking about football, of course, and it doesn't surprise me. So at least I had a context. I picked up, what is it, Amorim, the coach who moved from
Ruben Amorim, sim.
Amorim, see. So I picked up that.
See, his team, Man United, he's the new manager at Man United. They won 4-0, and that's against the context of Man City, I think, losing 2-0. To Liverpool. So it's very exciting if you're a Portuguese football lover with an interest in English football, British football.
Well, and on the flip side of that, Sporting is getting their asses kicked.
Yes, exactly. Yes, since he's gone.
Same team.
They're all sad. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was kind of the conversation. I heard treinador, so I know, okay, coach, and I heard coach several times. I heard a couple of scores because I was hearing numbers. So I just barely got the gist. I didn't get any of the details. I knew they were talking about football. I knew Sidonio was clearly dissatisfied with the new coach, or lack of one.
Yes.
But that was about it. A few keywords, another, word here, word there that I pick up. Like it wasn't bus, but if I'd heard autocarro, it's like, oh, bus. I got that. So my listening really needs practice. I really do need to just get Portuguese sound going in my head so I can start making out the sounds. It's still very frustrating to me.
What are you going to say till you start making out? Portuguese girlfriend, by the sound of it there. Making out the words. Right,
yes. And for speaking, I realize I just really need to expand my verbs. I have been practicing them, but they're, very basic, like can and go and walk. But the verbs are used in it. Virtually every sentence. And so often when I'm reading or when I'm trying to think, how would I say that? I don't have the verb for it. I don't have the action. What is it I'm trying to do?
Yes.
And I'm getting the conjugations down pretty well once I understand whether it's a regular verb or not. The regular verbs are so consistent. They're very easy to conjugate once you have them. But I have, I don't know, maybe feels like maybe 20 verbs if I really stretch, and it's just not enough. So it's hard for me to figure out what folks are doing when they're talking. I can hear, I can what? I don't know that verb.
So what's up with James? No, he's just thinking about part of the conversation we just had. He's like just in the corner going, yes. James,
there's one. It's kind of like birding. Oh, look, I found nothing. Oh, there's another one.
Just take a photograph of it. All right. Here's a photograph of a Portuguese verb that I managed to hear over the weekend. Yes, it's the lesser spotted conjugation. Well, keep it up. Keep up the good work, James.
Well, Louisa and I had some fun conjugating Google, because I made the comment. She said something about Googling or going to Google, and I said, "Isn't it interesting? Who would have ever imagined that a word, name of a company would be Google, and then it would become a verb? Yes. I'm going to Google it." And then we got to joking about, Portuguese using it as a verb. I said, well, if it's a regular verb, then we could actually conjugate it. So I would Google and you would Googlage. And so we started. And then she went through the whole list with me. It was a lot of fun and humor.
Excellent. I'm just going to leave this running while we're talking, James, here.
Googlamos.
Yeah. Vamos Googlamos, is it? This is Anna on the screen at the moment, Sweden, Portugal, and a bit of her footage from Cartera over the weekend. It is in our opening sequence, Anna, but whilst James and I are talking, we'll let that roll as well. Look at that. Blue flashing lights as part of the Christmas lighting up there. In Cartera.
What is that silver car with that big GNR on it?
Just keep out of their way is my advice to you. With
Louisa's good buddies.
Yes, there we go. That's an interesting stilt walker. Very good. So you've had an interesting weekend, certainly linguistically then, James.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and you put me onto a fantastic company. Now, I don't know how this came up. I think it's probably something to do with your love of hemp, isn't it?
Well, it's a combination of things. Hemp, a part of it, but I discovered the hemp on this particular product because I was trying to find sustainable clothing that was Portuguese made, or at least Portuguese companies, and relatively small independent companies. So I found this, because Facebook knows what you're thinking, it'll throw up an ad in its algorithm when you haven't even looked for it. It's like, oh, hemp shoes, how did that come in? Okay. Anyway, 8,000 Kicks was one company. So I checked them out and ultimately purchased a pair of shoes. I sent you a photo of my shoes, by the way, on WhatsApp.
I will put them on the screen now. Yeah, very good. Because you saw me featuring 8,000 Kicks in the.
I saw that. I said, okay, well, here's an opportunity for me to share this picture that nobody really ever wants to look at.
Well, do you know what? I think it's very difficult photographing black shoes, mainly because they look like black shoes. And there's nothing that very visually appealing. There's no high heel. There's no shiny bits. They're very dark. And that must be a photographer's nightmare to do a black shoe properly. It's probably known in the industry as a black shoe moment, isn't it?
It could be. Well, and when you're photographing a black textile like hemp, it absorbs all the light. There's no reflection on it. It's just flat. So if you put it on a black background, it would just disappear.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, I did notice the photographer critic in me on that one said, you didn't get the lid off your left foot. No.
Are you being distracted by this person here? And have you ever thought yourself?
If I look at that, I can't talk. So I have to.
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, he's very good at that. He's very good at walking on. I dare say he's got some hemp shoes on. Very good at walking on the cable drum. There are all sorts going on in the picture, but I'm going to let it run. It's good TV, James. While we're chatting.
It probably suits. Well, I don't know if it suits or hinders an ADHD mind. For me, it's just confusing.
Probably
I pretty much focus on one thing at a time, and anything that interrupts that just completely. It's like.
Right.
Can I still talk? Yes. Just don't look at the moving stuff.
Well, I think this warrants us maybe having a little bit of a chat. I thought I dispatched one of the flies here, but it's fly season when they're quite drunken and causing trouble. Oh, did I just get him with a backhand there?
That sounded like a zap.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now it looks as though Portugal are not afraid to use vertically challenged people in Christmas parades. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, but here is the documentary evidence anyway. I thought at first it was a funeral procession for one of their circus performers, because that unicycle looks ominously laid flat there, doesn't it, in a parade? And you're thinking it's what he would have wanted. I don't know quite what's happening here, but should we roll a bit more VT here?
Why not?
Yes. Oh, hi. Maybe he gets on the unicycle later. I don't know. That just looks a bit ominous to me, the unused unicycle in a public performing space there.
Well, you do have a very vivid imagination. So,
no question about that. You and me both, I think,
yes.
With that. And we will come back to hemp trainers in just a moment, because that's an amazing company, James, that you discovered there. And I've got us a Gumper discount. I think we've got 10% off for us at 8,000 Kicks.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, they're currently running a deal. I think, as I used to tell my young sons who always wanted to buy something because it was on sale, and they get very excited about it, I said, boys, there's always something on sale. Always. So being on sale isn't necessarily a reason to make a purchase.
Yeah, there are shops in London that are constantly where it's on sale, massive discounts, and it's never not like that.
Yeah, well, it's a sales strategy. Let's just say they cost $49.95 and say, "Ooh, on sale for $25.95."
Yes, yeah.
When they actually cost $25.95.
Well, over on the Portugal Club, however, James, Antonio F told us that the prices do have to be advertised in a certain place for a certain amount of time to truly qualify for that sales vocabulary, a choice of words here in Portugal for some consumer.
Yeah, well, and I heard on this show someone said, those EVA sales where no EVA for these days someone said, well, no, just pay attention to the prices before that goes on, and then notice that the prices with no EVA go up. And it's like, okay, but they don't call it a sale. They just say no tax.
Right.
And technically it would be accurate. We're not charging you tax. We're just charging you the same price as if we were charging you tax.
Yes.
So
well, be wary. But I guess if you wanted a pair of 8,000 kicks trainers, we can get you 10% off, and maybe that backpack as well that they do. And we've done an affiliate deal with them, so it's win-win-win all round.
Nice. Well, I'm happy that I could. I'm assuming that was a function of you knowing through me about them, and then you contacting them. Yes,
it's come together.
Great.
It's come together beautifully.
Love it when that happens. Well, and went the opposite with Ishtu. I heard about that from you, and I now own a pair of trousers from Ishtu. So
you did,
So the same thing is looking for sustainable clothing or products in general, made by independent Portuguese companies.
Fantastic. So, that's what I love about Ishto. It didn't go down terribly. Well, I think Peter was quite critical of the Ishto, but it ticks all the boxes you just gave there, didn't it? Some well-sourced fabrics, beautifully put together here in Portugal.
Fair trade. I mean, they're not.
Trade, you're going to expect to invest a little bit more with something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of my thinking is, well, these are going to last the rest of my life, so why not?
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, and it's not the joke for me is that, I'm hoping I'll get another 30 years. So
yes, and then they can be part of your legacy. They're so well made.
That's right.
Bom dia, Filomena's here. Alegria, bom dia, alegria. Beijinhos. Oh, James.
Obrigado.
Look at that. That's my third Portuguese compliment. Yesterday, I was very proud of Carlitos. Muito bem. Speaking in Portuguese. Well done, Carlitos. Yeah. And it wasn't just because you were there, Filomena, because I was in the back of my mind as I was walking down the seafront with Filomena, and I was seeing some of my Portuguese friends, and I was going, olá, bom dia, tudo bem? And mais ou menos chuck in a few extra bits.
Coisas is always a good one.
Filomena's watching me. Yeah, pois, coisas. It's obviously worked, but no, I was doing it because you were there, Filomena, that's for sure. But I was also enjoying it, and the words were coming out. It was fantastic. So thank you for that very kind observation and feedback there. Think of the price of clothing. Yes, in terms of cost per wear, which makes shoes such good value, doesn't it? The amount of wear you get out of shoes, not for the upfront price. Very good. Yeah, that is a really good idea. Were you in the trade? Is that what you used to tell people?
Well, and I think people are kind of disconnected from the fact that if you're wearing affordable, well, that's a broad range, inexpensive clothing, it's probably at the cost of somebody else. Children or indentured servitude or, slave labor or people being taken advantage of and not getting fair prices for the raw materials, whatever it is. That's the only way you can keep the actual cost of these things down, that and or poorly made. So there's quality involved in that.
Someone or something is paying the price somewhere in the chains, aren't they? Not in Portugal, however, because our minimum wage has gone up by a phenomenal €50 a year. Don't spend it all at once.
Woo.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, slowly but surely. Thank you for that, Peter. Right, now let's have a look at these. I think we've got a very, again, I can put a video on while we're chatting, and hopefully it's not too distracting for either of us, James, although I suspect it probably will be. Yes. Good luck with that. Now
I don't know how that works with listening. I know for me, if I'm watching a video and there's visuals and there's text, it's very difficult for me to keep up. But
yes. Well, I'm aware that I might be robbing you of. Oh, look, the co-founder here is hilarious.
Yeah, and that's his mother, and she's one of the co-founders of this company. So I think that's pretty fantastic too.
She's a legend, and I think we need to hear her speak. Oh, here we go.
Hello, guys. My name is Bernardo, and this is my co-founder Otília.
Hello.
And these are the world's first waterproof hemp backpacks.
Isn't she great? And this is the Kickstarter video for the hemp backpack. I mean, they are mostly famous for the shoes, are they not, James?
Well, that's where they started, but they were in the process of introducing the backpack, which is actually a pretty amazing backpack. The thing with hemp too is that I believe that it's naturally non-absorbent, so it's waterproof. Like I didn't believe it because it's a fabric. I said, oh, my feet are going to get wet if I go out in the rain or something. Yes. And it just beads up and rolls off the shoe. It's pretty amazing.
And they've doubled up on that with their proprietary, you say it, man, proprietary waterproofing system as well.
Okay, and then so they add to that, yeah.
They did. It's a really good-looking product. Now, this is, I think his name is Umberto. Is it Umberto Noguera? Now, he's a hemp specialist. When we were younger, a hemp specialist was a different kind of person, weren't they? They were not somebody standing in a field looking at the quality of hemp. They were probably slumped in a corner late at night in a party. Anyway, carry on. Umberto Noguera there.
Well, and this is an opportunity for me too, because you see me, supporting hemp all over the place. If you're on Facebook or watch this show, and I have an opportunity,
yes,
I really want to point out, because so many people continue to associate hemp with marijuana, and it is not the same. I mean, it's the same family, and yes, it has a little tiny bit of chemical similarities to marijuana. So if you smoked a bale of hemp, you might feel a little dizzy, but it's not like you're smoking
really sick.
Yeah, exactly. You're not smoking weed if you're trying to smoke hemp. And in fact, because of how marijuana and hemp pollinate and regenerate, hemp actually kills, not literally kills the plant, but substantially reduces the value of a marijuana crop. So rather than pulling up or trying to burn marijuana crops, what the legal authorities should be doing is throwing a bunch of hemp seeds out there. That'll ruin it. It's like that marijuana will be essentially worthless over the years. Plus, it's an annual crop. It regenerates to, it grows to 2 meters or more. It produces more fiber than wood does for paper. As you can see, it's used for cloth. They can get essential oils and the medical applications through the chemicals that they can extract. This isn't hemp. That's marijuana in terms of that. But there's so many things that can be done with hemp, including bricks for building homes and concrete. It's like, why aren't we doing this? Why do we continue to, in Portugal, have, well, it's hard to get rid of the eucalyptus now that it's here and that the industry is established, because apparently it's a different process in extracting the fiber, but it's such a more sustainable way of doing the things that we're doing anyway. It's like, let's get it converted. Let's start making use, not just of hemp, but of other things that can be equally as well. I saw a video today in Singapore. Apparently they're recycling all their plastic and making asphalt out of it. That's more than asphalt, all kinds of things. It's pretty amazing to see how they recycle and regenerate garbage. They don't have garbage heaps because they clean it up every day, and they take it immediately to where it gets reconstituted or recycled into whatever it gets recycled into. Repurposed.
Well, thank you for making the case there. You are a proud owner of the shoes, as is Colin. I think Colin's here this morning. He likes the shoes. There's yours, modeled by you, James.
By me. Those are my shoes on my feet.
With a right foot and a left foot, not like the Portugueser. You've got one.
That's right.
And the link to them, if you want to find out more, it helps everybody concerned if you use our affiliate link there. And I'll pop the 10% discount code up in the Portugal Club as well later on. There's all sorts going on in the chat, James. And Tig is ready to join us as well. She's got a cat with her behind the scenes there. It's Bring Your Cat to Work week. Just a couple of comments here about the hemp and the connected conversation there. Big timber and paper companies like the Hearst Corporation. The Hearst had they were a Californian family, weren't they? Hearst, what was that big house of theirs?
They called it a castle. Hearst Castle.
Hearst Castle, yeah, obviously.
In Big Sur on the California coast.
I went there. Had an economic interest limiting competition from it. That's part of it. There was the most amazing and effective propaganda campaign against hemp, wasn't there? Which is what you're speaking of, complaining of, which lasts to this day. I think it was all about the reefer madness, wasn't it, in those days? Which
Well, they tied hemp to marijuana, just as they've tied socialism to communism and other things that that does this, advertisers, propagandists, whoever they are, who's putting these things together, say, ooh, if we connect hemp with marijuana, then we can criminalize hemp or make it a controlled product, even though it has no real value. But
it will stop children smoking buildings, won't it? DuPont had an interest in keeping hemp illegal due to its development of petrochemical paints and synthetic fibers like nylon. And you will have seen in that video there was a shot of Henry Ford, because I think one of his first prototype cars was made out of hemp as well, until everything changed and we went for oil instead of hemp, didn't we?
Well, and sailing and navigation for hundreds of years was based on hemp fiber. The ropes that don't rot, the big strong ropes that keep ships from pulling away from the dock are made out of hemp. As I understand it, the first American flag was a hemp fabric, so hemp was big until these big changes around the turn of the 20th century. Yes,
indeed. Right. And I know you could go on talking about this all day. It's a very favorite subject of yours. I think the last word on it for the time being, and thank you for your contributions in the chat there from T-Duck and from Bob, who's here this morning as well. Thank you, Bob, taking us to Iowa this morning. And Jackie, final word for the moment. We'll bring Tig on in just a moment with Little Puss, I think, as well, who's still here for the moment. Anyway, I tell you what, as soon as we switch the camera on, the cat will disappear. It's like, don't work with children or animals. And let's see if that's true here this morning. Hemp is a cousin of skunk. Hemp is good for its fibers, nothing else.
Yes, I believe that's true. Yeah. I tied a bunch of stuff that has to do with the cannabis industry and health and all those oils and other things. That was all cannabis. It was not hemp. But
good. Well, I think we've mentioned skunk and cannabis and marijuana enough now to get us banned from YouTube. So thank you very much, everybody, for your help with that. Give her a nice big round of applause and bring her onto the screen. Hola, bon dia.
Bon dia.
Cat's disappeared now, Tig. Or she's just there.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, no.
Very good. Okay, so this framing of us on the screen is not helpful at the moment. Let me see if I can do better on that.
He's here.
That's not working. My layout's not working very well. Let's see how it goes here.
Hang on a minute. There we go.
There you go. Who is this? Beauty.
This is Puds, who has been seriously ill this last week. He was touch and go for 3 days. He got peritonitis. So he's a little bit clingy. And I'm surprised he hasn't made an appearance before, because he loves company.
He does. Let's say it's a Zoom call. Zoom. Did you say Pudge? Is that the name?
Puds. P-U-D-S. Puds.
Puds, as in desserts.
Yes.
Puds. Okay. Well, is Puds on the mend then after the peritonitis?
He came home finally on Saturday night he was in hospital Wednesday through to Saturday. Picked him up Saturday night. He was touch and go.
What is peritonitis?
It's like a massive infection. You sort of get like peritonitis after a burst appendix.
Good heavens.
So he was, so there's been a few sleepless nights and a few tears.
Oh, bless you both.
He made it. And the vets were very surprised that he made it. So
were they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So he was, because I was asking the hard questions, that you have to, is he going to be okay? And there's just sort of silence. And there was,
brave look.
Basically, if he went down a degree, then he would die. That's what they were doing. So
he's a hero, a legend, super cat.
And he's fabulous. He's absolutely fabulous. Yeah, he's lovely. So
glad to be there.
Talking about hemp. Sorry.
We're not finished with hemp.
Please do.
Two things. Friends of mine are building a hemp house.
Nice.
Yes, that's right. Don't get him started again.
No,
now.
It's just apparently they're the 10th one in Portugal. It's fabulous.
Something is happening.
Last week. Monday. Absolutely fabulous.
We had Chumbaria, we had Steve, and what was her name, James? The lovely lady from Chumbaria. Anyway, they are building some of their homes from hemp, and when they joined us on the show, do you remember that, James? They were using hemp as some.
I do, yeah. I don't remember names, but yes.
Yeah, they blitzed it with paint inside. They didn't need to plaster it or skim it. It was just a nice finish because it was, the bricks were well laid and pointed, and then they were just able to paint over it. It was really good.
Don't know what they're going to do. I think they were going to plaster it or do something, put some sort of layer over it. But it looks fabulous. It looks they've done an amazing job. But and going back to sales, James, what you were saying about sales. My mother was an absolute sucker for sales, absolute sucker for them. And she used to walk into a shop and say, if I buy that, I can save 20%. And I say, if you don't buy it, you'll save 100%.
Yes, right. Yes. Sorry, I thought we were talking about hemp sales for a minute. I was thinking,
sailing sales and sailing rope and clothing sales. There's a sales discounts. We're talking about discounts.
Nobody likes to hear that, though, Tig, do they? When they're getting excited, because this is the sales psychologist. If we want something, we've already made the decision, really, haven't we? And all the rest of it is backfilling emotionally to justify the trance we've created for ourselves to buy something. And when someone comes along and says, you'll save 100%, it's like, stop it. It's not what I want to hear right now. I'm getting really excited about having that thing.
Though, it's not so much that, it's that, sort of when you're walking around a shop with somebody and they suddenly see something on sale that they don't need and don't particularly want. And then if I buy this, and it's just, well, why?
Yes. Are you that friend?
It's different if you know you're going to buy something and then you see that thing on sale. Then, okay, I can spend less for that thing I was going to buy anyway.
Look, this is the worst shopping trip ever. James, Carl, and Tig going to the shops. Carl is excited. It's like a Ladybird book. Carl is excited about.
Carl, were you going to buy that anyway? Well,
yes,
no,
I was.
But it's on sale.
Go and have a coffee, you two, and let me buy my stuff in peace, for God's sake.
You see. Because Wharton's and Fnac and wherever, they do these same EVA sales, don't they? Mm-hmm. So you don't have to pay EVA, which of course is fabulous because it's over 20%. Yeah. And here, because I've renovated this place, I needed washing machine, tumble dryer, TV, and whatever, and I bought them all in the same EVA sale.
That's a great saving, isn't it?
I'm curious, did you happen to notice what the price was before the EVA discount? I mean, like before that campaign started? Because some people are saying they just raise the price and don't charge tax on it, and then so you end up paying the same.
No,
only if you call it a sale, I think. And they say, we don't charge EVA. That's 100% true. We're not charging EVA. We're just charging more for the product than we usually do. And I'm not saying that's what happens. I'm just saying somebody on Good Morning Portugal said that they noticed that the prices changed when that sale, quote unquote, sale went on.
I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true. However,
maybe they did, but I certainly know that the items that I bought were very, very cheap in comparison to what I normally would have paid.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Antonio told us a couple of days ago in the Portugal Club, Portuguese law, this is under the title of, this is like a memo, isn't it? Memo subject, sales season, text body. Portuguese law says that when advertising the amount of discount on sales season, namely Black Friday, or as I put it, Sexta Preto, the reference old price must be the lower price in the last 30 days. However, some shops choose another price or the recommended retail price. They go, but that's illegal, to simulate a bigger discount, stimulate. And sometimes the new price is even higher than the previous one, the rascals. So before buying a product on sale, you can look its price variation in the last week, month, or 3 months and decide if it's a good price by using the price comparison tool, deco.protege.pt, comprar precios, or quanto custa.pt. And I'm going to put the link to both of those in the chat. Antonio F., you are a living legend, mate. Thank you very much for that. That's going to be useful to some of the gumpers here to make sure they are not getting ripped off. So thank you, everybody, for your teamwork on that. That's better. Right.
Well, and I wouldn't even call it a rip-off. It's just a con, maybe.
Yeah, playing with us.
We're just trying to get you to spend your money here, which they're doing anyway. So
yes, right. And there was John's excellent comment as well on this matter. Speaking of sales and savings, says Joao Ernesto de Nort, anyone else finding sales adverts a bit off-putting when they talk about poopy Oh, 50. A massage doesn't quite convey the same message to me. Yes, it is a bit off-putting when you go in. Not only, I mean, there is the aroma of bacalao, which you're not used to when you first come to the country, and then poopy mice everywhere.
Well, and if you're saying it correctly, then it's less off-putting because it's actually pulp.
Oh.
Pulp. It's not poopy or poupe or poop. It's not
John.
Poo.
Yeah,
it's
John.
Just,
yes, I knew
but
that.
I laugh at it too every time I see poupon.
The one I laugh at most is bimbo bread.
Yes, me too. Who wants bread from a bimbo?
Where can I get some of that?
Right. When I first got here, I could believe that somebody. But they didn't.
Do they really know how to make bread?
There's bimbo and bimby, isn't there as well? Bimby. Let's probably maybe not go. We need a bimby expert. Bimby. Oh, bimby is like the new Tupperware. It's the consumer cult of Portugal in many ways. But the least said, the better at the moment, because I don't know what I'm really talking about. Nothing new there, Carl. Some may say. I'm waiting for a few things right now, says Tito. Also, the EVA is less in Spain. Wink, wink. So pop across the border. Keep the receipts. I love the knives. Oh, yes, of course. And how do we say that? It is do you have an extensive Farca collection here in your? There's no other way of putting it, folks. And
many facas here.
Right. And one, it's the mother of all knives. The mother of all knives. How does that translate? The one I like is stop it, James.
I'm just trying to get my. Once I realize, oh no, that's a mistake. It's plural.
James,
feminine.
You're thinking out loud. Stop it.
Okay.
What I like is the sign at Continent that says "Pupamos." All right.
Conjugate that verb.
Seriously now. Thank you, everybody. Calm down now. Tig is here. Tig is an MBE.
Enough with poop.
And in case I hadn't mentioned it before, and it's a new year coming up, Tig, and I wanted to ask you, it's another year further away, isn't it, from the Brexit moment? Do you think things will calm down for you in 2025? That and your other hopes and dreams for next year, because we're not going to see you until next year now.
I don't know if I think things are calming down, but things still keep cropping up, and again, like I repeat ad nauseum, about the cards, that people still haven't got the cards. We've still got issues with health centre, and IMA. They were saying the other week that they dealt with 250,000 cases. Then I don't know if I mentioned this last time, that it was, then what they'd done, you've got all these undocumented foreigners here that were told, they got 10 days to cough up €400 for their application to go through. So how many of those cases were then closed?
Right.
So, I don't know. I think that it's certainly from 2 years ago. 2 years ago was just insane. It was manic, absolutely manic, trying to get everybody sorted out and whatever. And things crop up all the time. And the fact that sort of, because we're a rejoin group really as well. So we've got constant questions. This is the visas that we don't deal with, but people think we do. Right. And a classic case actually has been about people not understanding the system, and of course we've got all the systems coming in for EES where people are going to be clocked in and out of the European Union with the new system that's coming in next year. And it's interesting because obviously we've got the 90 out of 100 days that we can, out of 180 days that we can go around the EU, the other countries, as UK nationals, third country nationals. And people have got themselves really tied up in a knot with this, that they think that now they're not allowed to go to the UK for more than 90 days out of 180. It's like, no, you're a UK national. You can go for as long as you like. If you're a national of the country, you can go.
That would have been the worst of all Brexit disadvantages.
Oh, wouldn't it? Can you imagine? Oh my! But people are assuming that they're, because they actually sit in, they're a resident of an EU member state, that they can't go back to the UK for more than 90 days. Absolutely, it goes on.
However, which really happen if you gave up your citizenship, you wouldn't be able to. But yes, you remain a British national, don't you? So you're welcome there until
you qualify for a passport.
Yes, until there's something else that happens. But as we stand at the moment, of course, the UK is not in the EU. So and if you've got a UK passport, you just go back there willy nilly, as we say over there.
Absolutely, but I mean, there's two things to that. You have to be very careful where you tax resident, because if you
the amount of time spending there, yes.
Yeah, so if you're tax resident in the UK or where don't ask me about tax laws. I know nothing about them, but I do know that you have to be very careful with your tax if you're messing around with your tax residency and whatever, that you don't spend more than X number of days in the UK. And also, of course, if you've got temporary residency here, if you're in the first 5 years of residency, then you're not supposed to spend more than 6 months of the year out of Portugal, otherwise you lose your residency rights.
Right. Okay. Before I forget, on this matter of tax, we are having a tax-based fireside chat on Tuesday, the 10th of December. We'll be looking at why and how, because this follows a really good webinar from Sarah last Thursday about how the exchange rate has changed and what's likely to happen going forward with that. But we're going into a bit of a deeper dive. Why and how is Portugal's banking and finance system different to yours? Retiree passive income versus earned income, necessity of maintaining US presence, usefulness of keeping a US phone and a US legal address. Read UK there also, because it's the same situation in many ways. Technically, if not the actual numbers concerned, but it's important. You may want to keep a UK phone for the reasons we'll discuss on the 10th. Necessity, usefulness of intermediary financial vehicles such as Spartan, Wise and Revolut cards, etc. FBAR, tax filing sequences, and any other business. And we'll have some professionals there, and also we will have the experience of people who've gone through the process. So that's on the 10th of this month. Just over a week away. A week tomorrow, in fact. Sorry to interrupt you there, Tig, but that could be quite useful for people there. You had another thing, I think, as well as the tax residence issue. It was
just be very wary if you're, au fait with your tax things. I mean, I'm resident here and under the double taxation treaty, and I let my accountant sort it out. So I don't mess with that at all, but other people do. They're far more up to date with stuff like that. Of course, and the other thing was, this is one of the issues that UK nationals have got in Spain, because if they take Spanish nationality, they have to forfeit their UK nationality.
Is that right?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
We're very, very fortunate. And there's and Holland used to be the same. The Netherlands used to be the same. But there's now certain criteria where people can retain their UK nationality, but certainly Spain. And it's been a huge problem, because you've got UK citizens with residency in Spain with businesses that used to have freedom of movement.
Yes, and also back to tax residency in Spain, they don't mess about, do they? I mean, some of us have found engagements and interactions with finances here somewhat challenging. Not to put too fine a point on it, but Spain really don't mess about with that sort of stuff, do they? You hear some horror stories about that. Yeah.
And this is something, again, with the EES system coming in, where people's coming in and coming out, you haven't got documentation, or you're only spending like 15 days a year in Spain, and you're not submitting tax returns, they will have you. Absolutely. Right. Far more strict in Spain than they are here. Yes. They were absolutely. But you see, the difficulty is, so people have lost freedom of movement, really struggling with their businesses to work out what they can do, what they can't do, having to hire Spanish people, whereas they were doing the jobs before, and the expense of that. But the trouble is if they take Spanish nationality, lots of them have got elderly parents, for example, in the UK, and then they will be limited to the amount of time they can go back to the UK.
Yikes! Yeah,
it's and I mean, another example is, of course, I mean, friends of mine, they are married to EU citizens. So if there's any problem with their family in the UK, they can't take their EU citizen children with them.
Flipping heck. Right.
It's huge. It's and that is obviously it's across the whole of the EU that this is happening. It's apps. The consequences to the 1.5 million of us living here are dire. If you are, yeah.
Okay, so in terms of as I put the first question to you, what are your hopes for 2025? You'd be dealing with that. There'll be the continuation of that, presumably. So your work is not done yet, Tig.
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be in the 9th year, won't it?
That's amazing, isn't it? But not showing much sign of calming down, and new challenges in the pipeline, which you'll do your best to help people with. Not necessarily on an individual basis. It can't be done, as you said. There's a lot of people, so you'll have to just help people with the generalities of what they should anticipate and how they might be treated.
I mean, the fight with IMA, because they are just, until they get their act together and until they start being, the institution that they should be. I mean, we've got nigh on 1 million foreigners here, and they just aren't coping. And it's it's unacceptable. They people can't leave the country. They can't set up businesses. They can't get healthcare, and it's just unacceptable.
Right.
People through that. It really, really is.
Are you still making those sort of representations then at that level, at government level? You are. You're knocking on their door.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I was actually asked to give join a webinar tomorrow, which is about all the groups in the UK that are advocating to rejoin the EU as well. So there's that side of it, because as soon as the cards were on their way and had been dealt, we then said, look, we're actually going to go back to the grassroots of who we are as a group, British in Portugal, which was advocating for Remain to rejoin now, obviously. And that's what we've done. Right.
Okay. As well as still helping people out with some of these issues.
Yeah. It was because, me and the other guys, we had long chats about it. And it was, all the 60,000 UK nationals that were in Portugal needed our help, regardless of their political views or opinion on Brexit. We all needed the documentation. And again, sort of with the crowdfunders, we didn't ask anybody to pay because everybody needed, and some wouldn't be able to afford it. So everybody needed them. And it's the same, but now we're going back to, we've gone back to actually, we are anti-Brexit, always will be.
Well, but maybe a load of benefits will start pouring in, Tig. Only joke. Take note of Tig. It was a joke. It was a joke. No, please, no. Okay, right. There was another question.
I won't hold my breath, is all I'll say.
All right, fair enough. Here is a serious issue. If you go to a hotel and biometric card is out of date, they tell you and are not sure to accept you. Why? What? So first things first, how common is it to be asked for your biometric card in a hotel?
If you're giving your residency card, you can give your passport instead. They just want ID.
Exactly. That's the point. Back to basics. First principles. Yeah.
Just because the thing is just because your documentation is out of date doesn't mean that you aren't a resident. It's.
Yeah, otherwise it's like the prisoner, isn't it? Look, I'm a real human being. You can see that's my picture. It's got my birth date on it. I am here. This is me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had the same in my bank.
It's no longer valid.
Yeah. I had the same with my bank when we hadn't got the withdrawal agreement biometric cards, because my residency card had run out. My passport was just about to run out, and I was sat there in front of my personal banker with my account on the computer screen, and she flatly refused to accept my card because it was out of date. My residency card.
Meaning what? You can't stay here?
Meaning I couldn't make any changes to my bank account.
Oh, I beg your pardon. We're not in a hotel anymore.
No. I was in my bank. Yeah, and it was just, I am sat here. You know me.
Yes.
And you've got my bank account on your screen, which we can, and she's going, nope, your ID's out of date.
Yeah, and then you're thinking, how do I escalate this? Well, I'll tell you what, my money's real as well. I'm taking it all out and getting another bank account. Okay, I'll get you the right form.
I'll need your identification.
I'll need your ID, which is, you can't go anywhere. Ha! Right.
And that of course, you see that, but that was the issue. I hadn't got a withdrawal agreement biometric card. My residency was out of date, and my passport was out of date as well.
Yes.
It was coming up.
Yeah.
It was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
We've only got a few minutes to go, and I want to do the God Squad tip of the day. But I would like to end on a positive note. I mean, I guess the positive thing here is that whilst these problems and challenges exist for people, there is help available. And you are part of that help, Tig. So thank you for a year of helping us out here in this particular context. Much appreciated. Was it this year you got the MBE? Or was that last year?
No, it was a shame.
And congratulations on that as well, of course. And thank you for helping us. And thank you, by the sound of it, continuing to help those post-Brexit Brits in Portugal as well into 2025. When we went to Spain and offered our residency card, the hotel asked if we had another form of ID, and we had to present our US passport. So not just Finanzas and not just IMA, but even in hotels, take everything with you, including your grandparents.
But you see, the thing is that your residency card, all it is a document to say that you live in Portugal.
Right.
It's nothing else. So they would want your passport because that's a travel document and legitimate identification. Your residency is, and that is what I mean. This is what we keep telling people: you cannot travel on your residency card. You cannot do it. You have to have a passport because you're going over country borders, even within the EU. But people will insist, "Oh no, I've got a no." You need a travel document.
Also, what I've noticed, which is quite strange, is the irony or the paradox of luxury? The better quality the hotel, the more they look at you like you're at border control. Now, we're talking about standing in a hotel, right?
You
pay to stay there, and then they'll say, "Good afternoon. Do you have a reservation?" It's like, "Yeah, I do actually. I'm really looking forward to staying here." And I said, "Very well." And then you pass over your documents, don't you? And they're like,
so true. Yeah. The more money you pay
to the other person. Yes. The worse you're treated in a funny sort of way.
Right? They get.
Yes. Yeah. What's that about? Anyway.
I don't know.
Okay. I've never got used to it. Right. Gary is in. I forgot to say hi earlier on. Bon dia from a very great Coventry. Wow. And we're finding out how Dale is. He is making steady progress, Pete. Thank you for this information, Gary. Thanks for asking, Peter. Still done with a sense of humour. Big meeting at the hospital this afternoon. So lots of love to the Austins over there in Coventry, by the sound of it. I thought Dale might have been in Birmingham, but giving a big beijinhos, abrazos from us, please, if you will. The full 9 yards I was told, is from World War II waist gunners. James and I had this very conversation before we started. I thought it was about bowling. It's the waist gunners in the B-17 bombers. The ammo belts for the 50 caliber machine guns were 9 yards long. Given the full 9 yards let them have it. Yes, so be careful.
Unload it all.
Yes, okay. And going back to the God Squad tip of the day with a bon dia, bienvenido a mais uma semana. Very good, Ian. Sorry. Well, a gentle Monday beckons. I'm so used to saying, "Muito bem, James." Well, especially on a Monday. Well, a gentle Monday beckons after a busy weekend, made more hectic by me being an idiot. Oh, leading to an additional hour driving up and down the A1. Did you miss your turning? God Squad tip of the day. I think we can. You could be forgiven that in Portugal, but on the A1, Ian. Anyway, I think Lee said soon it's mended. I think we can all agree that loneliness can be a killer. I've known one or two people who are no longer with us that just gave up after effectively becoming reclusive. Yikes! Join us every morning if that is your condition. I mean, I know it's not a real thing, but I mean, we're better than nothing, aren't we? Go on, Tig.
Can I just say, I mean, I've lived here now just under 5 months.
Yeah.
And I've got a great neighbour, absolutely great neighbour. But he actually thanked me yesterday. And he said that he'd become a bit of a recluse because this place hadn't been lived in for 20 years.
Right.
And me being me, because I've been dragging him out. and said, "Oh, I've got friends coming. Do you fancy going?" As I bumped into him in the hallway, "Oh, okay." And he thanked me. Yes, he said he's been going slowly more and more as being a recluse, and he was saying it's been so great. You dragged me out, and he's in his 80s, bless him. He's lovely.
Oh, fantastic! Portuguese or
no, he's British, he's Scottish. So I've been dragging him out, and he's absolutely chuffed to bits. You don't think about it, do you?
Why would you? Why would you until it comes onto your radar like that? And so well done, Tig, on that. And absolutely a great example of what's being said here. So social interaction is, I believe, very important and also a key part of growing old disgracefully.
Absolutely.
Give me bang on the wall. Can you hear us now? Bang on the wall. I raised the issue following a chat yesterday.
I'll tell him.
Please, and bring him on the show one Monday. Okay. I raised the issue following a chat yesterday with my cousin, who was making the argument that alcohol in moderation is good for encouraging a good social life. It's an interesting point. There have been many studies identifying the health dangers of drinking, but I haven't found one on this aspect anyway. What do you gumpers think? Well, in moderation, like all things, right, Tig?
Yeah, absolutely, moderation. And what I was going to say was, it was silly. And I'm not particularly a games person, but I actually, you might know about this, James. It's Mexican Train. Have you heard of Mexican Train?
It's a dance.
It's a domino game, and I don't like dominoes, but it's such good fun, and your kids would love it. Honestly, as well as that, it's hilarious, absolutely brilliant. But
clothed or unclothed, Tiggs? No, okay, clothed. I take it. Right, okay.
And James say the kids would love it. So
yes, sorry. Take that how inappropriate. When it's a Greg Wallace territory, there, I do forgive it.
It's every age group. Everybody can play, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Okay, we love Mexican Train. Yes, Mexican Train.
There you go.
Okay.
Mexican Train. Woo.
Never heard of it before. Yeah.
All right, we need to find out, don't we, to get the Christmas party started. And talking of which, if you can be in San Martino de Porto on the 13th, that's a week on Friday, we are having our San Martino meetup Christmas gathering at the wonderful, now world famous Casa de Lem cocktail bar from 7 p.m. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Even if that cat's face does not say so, we're going to have a lot of fun in 2 weeks, nearly 2 weeks' time. Thank you, Tig. Thank you, James. Is there anything else you wanted to share? It's 2 minutes past 10. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, anything else you want to share with us before the year's out? We'll not see you until next year, Tig.
You won't, will you? No, have a good Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year.
You go, man. Yeah, all right. Thanks, Tig. And thanks again for all the help and advice and support you've given to me through this particular portal. And best regards, brazos, beijinhos to your colleagues in the group as well. James, do you have a parting shot for us this morning? Don't give us the whole 9 yards. Hemp.
Hemp e boas festas e Feliz Natal.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And overwhelmed officially on 913-590-303 with lots of videos from the weekend. We'll make sure we get those through those throughout this week, and they may become part of our opening sequence as well. Oh, have to do this before you go. It is the opening of our Advent calendar. Very important. I've got things that are uneaten here that I meant to try. Hopefully they'll stay fresh until tomorrow. So if you go to, no, that's not it. That's it. If you go to our website, you will see at the top of it our new Advent calendar. We've been lighting up Christmas for the last 2 years. This year we're going for Christmas memes. And it was the 1st of December yesterday, of course. And that one chosen by T-Duck there. You'll see is Santa, who has definitely received T-Duck's list, just selecting his presents because he's been a good boy at the off license there. Let's open number 2 in the presence of Tig and James now. Tig, James, see what I did there. Let's update the website, which I shall do behind the scenes. And when I refresh that page, this is exciting. The only thing missing from this is that you will not be getting a chocolate. So nothing at all, in fact, except a little chocolate. I'm sorry, Tig. I'm sorry about that.
My Christmas card list.
Dear, that was quick.
You might get a little chuckle.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Come on. There you go. The good thing about insomnia is there's only 3 sleeps until Christmas. It's a bit harsh and unkind. Sorry. Okay. That went down well. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Take care. See you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.
There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Vossa percebeis razão, em ingratidão, ao